So the Pokemon Presents livestream for Pokemon Day 2023 was just announced alongside a 7-star Pikachu raid, which I've covered in another video. I'll show it on screen. Go and watch if you want. I wanted to talk about the livestream itself. I wanted to talk about what to expect, because it is about 20 to 25 minutes long, I believe, which is the second longest Pokemon Presents livestream. The only other longest one was when they were discussing Pokemon Legends Arceus, and that was a very good game. So I think it's interesting to discuss what this one could have in store. I suppose if we're going to start, we start off big, right? I mean, it's the thing everyone's waiting for, the Pokemon Scarlet and Violet DLC. It's very likely there'll be a DLC announcement. It's very hard to believe they wouldn't be planning DLC for this game. And, you know, there have been multiple leakers who have confirmed it as well, so I'm pretty confident we'll be getting DLC announcement. Even if it's just like a name, even if it's just a release date, you know, I'm expecting there to be something about the DLC. What can we see in the DLC, though? That's a whole, another can of worms. There are a lot of people who think you'll be going to Kalos. I don't want to get too much into that because there's a lot of grasping at straws about that, and I don't want to get intertwined with that, but it's possible, okay? A lot of people also want to go further into Area Zero, which I think is a really cool idea. Some people have also mentioned like going into the time machine and going into the past or future, which would be difficult to code considering the Scarlet and Violet would then have to have two entirely different DLCs, but God, would it be cool. And of course, talking about the Scarlet and Violet DLC, I'm expecting to get at least some sort of teaser about the three legendaries. If you don't know, in the Scarlet book in Pokemon Scarlet or the Violet book in Pokemon Violet, there are drawings of legendary Pokemon that aren't in the game, obviously. The first one is the third legendary, the big, you know, the one behind Area Zero, behind Terrestrialization, likely. In Pokemon Scarlet, there's a Paradox Pokemon that seems to be a combination of the legendary beasts from Generation 2. And in Scarlet, there is a Paradox Pokemon that is a combination, a fusion of the Swords of Justice from Generation 5. It'd be cool to get a little teaser. I'm not saying it's going to happen. Probably the second biggest thing I'm expecting, at least. Pokemon Home Compatibility. God, we've been waiting for months for this. What the hell? If you don't know, Pokemon Home is sort of a database for you to store your Pokemon. You can deposit Pokemon from Legends Arceus or Sword and Shield, and you can put them into different games. It's how you trade your Pokemon between generations. Except, for some reason, whenever they release a new Pokemon game, they wait like half a year to add home compatibility. I don't know why, but it was announced that Pokemon Home support will be coming in spring 2023, which would suggest March. And, you know, March is right around the corner. I'm just saying, the Pokemon Day live stream will be a great time to announce Pokemon Home compatibility. I've got a lot of shiny Pokemon I want to bring up, that's all I'm saying. Oh, Pokemon Home compatibility would also let you transfer Pokemon that aren't available in the base game, in the regular 400 Pokemon in the Pokedex. There are a lot of Pokemon on that list. I mean, Chespin you can transfer up. A lot of the starters you can transfer up even though they're not in the Pokedex. A lot of legendaries, mythicals. Oh, and a lot of the Hisuian forms as well. Hisuian Goodra is one I'm really excited about. Another big talking point among fans is one of the biggest announcements in the latest Nintendo Direct. Well, okay, not quite the biggest, but like the second biggest. They're doing virtual console support for the Game Boy and the Game Boy Advanced on the Nintendo Switch, which has left a lot of people wondering, where's Pokemon? They announced a lot of games. There was the Pokemon trading card game that was announced for Game Boy, but nothing beyond that. No Red and Blue, Gold and Silver, not even Ruby and Sapphire, but a lot of people are expecting that announcement to be made on Pokemon Day. It would make sense. It would make a lot of sense. I mean, Pokemon is one of the biggest franchises in the world. There's no way they wouldn't want to emulate them on the Switch. Even if you think that the emulation is a bit tacky on the Switch, which, you know, I've not tried it myself, I'm not going to say anything, it would be cool to be able to transfer all those Pokemon straight from Ruby and Sapphire, to be able to put it into Pokemon Home. And for the Pokemon Crystal Virtual Console on the 3DS. Oh, by the way, if you've not purchased Virtual Console stuff for the 3DS, I would recommend doing it as soon as possible. I think there's like a month left until eShop support is completely removed from the 3DS. But back to the topic at hand, the Crystal Virtual Console for the 3DS allowed anyone who bought it to catch Celebi in an event that was, I believe it was exclusive to Japan, but they put it on the Virtual Console copy so you can catch Celebi. You know, there's probably a few events they can do that with, Generation 3 as well. There was Jirachi, there's some Celebi events, Mew events, oh, the Regis as well. Oh, and of course, talking about Jirachi, you can also catch a shiny Jirachi in Pokemon Go now. I'm thinking about making like an actual whole video on that, because it's actually pretty crazy. Actually, yeah, I'll make a video about that. Subscribe if you want to see it. The news about the shiny Jirachi for the first time in years is really cool. Oh, and of course, I can't believe I forgot this. There was, I think it was like the source code of the website or something. There was like a copyright thing left over, and it mentioned the developers of Pokemon Mystery Dungeon. The developers behind Mystery Dungeon have something to do with Pokemon Presents this year. I mean, you know, it's not impossible that it's a Pokemon spin-off game that isn't Mystery Dungeon, but considering how popular Mystery Dungeon is, I wouldn't be surprised if they're making a new one for the Switch. There's also been discussion about Pokemon Sleep, which was a spin-off game that was announced like 2-3 years ago, and there's been no news about it since. So people are expecting news about that, but I don't know. Maybe they've just abandoned it. You never know with Nintendo. There'll probably also be some more details about Pokemon Scarlet and Violet version 1.2.0, which is like this big bug fix patch they're planning for late February. I've seen some people theorize that there could be some sort of teaser event for the DLCs, like in Sword and Shield. Before the DLCs came out, there was a Galarian Slowpoke waiting at Wedgehurst Station. You know, there could be something like that happening in late February for Scarlet and Violet. Could be cool, but you know, mainly there's a lot of bug fixes. Great, cool. I love bug fixes. Okay, and that I think is it. I'm very excited for Pokemon Day 2023. It's gonna be so cool. I want DLC so badly. I love Scarlet and Violet so much. I think I said this earlier, but if you want to see coverage of it, you know, when it happens, as it happens, I would consider subscribing.